and welcome to MentorMe Memorable Moments. I am your host, Tracy Everette, and I am so glad to see you this week.
And I'm your co-host, William Craig III, and it is a pleasure just to be able to welcome 150 nations as well as all 50 states.
Yes, and we're growing. I see the
Yes,
stats.
indeed.
We're growing. So we're glad that you're connecting with us.
Thank you.
And, you can connect with us through social media as well at our website, MentorMe411.com, or through our Twitter account, MentorMe411. And, you can find any one of us through our profile on the MentorMe411.com and connect with us individually as well.
Yes.
But this is our social health
Yay.
segment. And I tell you, I was talking to William before the show started. It's like we just ended the social
Seemed like last week.
Yeah, exactly. And here we are again. But it was so thrilling last week when William broke out with the type of business to choose. And he showed us a couple of businesses there where he had created a tennis shoe.
Yeah.
Fab tennis shoe. It was nice. So he gave
Thank
you
you.
some instructions on how to do that too.
Nice to say. People have let me know that they have gone online and created their own line of shoes. And the 3-4 pair, is that right, Mike? But here we go. That was the whole point of it, to let you know that you could get started right where you are with no cost up front and do something to help better yourself.
So if you missed that program, you can always go to MentorMe411.com, and just under our sizzle reel or promotion reel, you'll see where our archives link is. Click on that, and you will find William and everything on YouTube that talks about choosing that business, that wonderful business that's going to make you a lot of money.
From home.
Okay. From home, home-based business.
Yes.
But our first segment is with Duane Ross in the Chop Shop, and we're going to be talking about, daughters. When daughters disconnect, fearful, fatherless, and floundering. So let's get to the Chop Shop.
This is a kingdom banger. What up? It's the Chop. It's time to bring that weight to the front. It's time to chop it up. Let's get it. For sure, we gonna just call this the Chop Chop. Big up Epiphany. It's the Chop Chop. Let's get it. Chop Chop. Let's go. Hey, what does it take to make you chop chop?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? How y'all doing today? I was sitting over here like, I can't say nothing. But this is the Chop Chop, man, and I gotta tell you, this show today, fearful, fatherless, and fluctuating, floundering, just lost.
All over the place.
Right? So this comes from Psalm 68:5, where, there's a thing happening where, the Pharaoh has already let the people go. They're out in the wilderness. They're going forth. And God made a statement, and he said, we're going to make sure that you're covered. And he says he is the father to the fatherless and a defender of the widows. And, this is God who dwells in the holy habitation. So we're going to be coming from that perspective, because what we do, we always talk about the scripture first, and then we kind of break it down. And when you look at fearful, fatherless, and floundering, fluctuating in and out of their lifestyles and things of this nature, you're going to come across a couple of things. But see, here's the thing about father, and we're going to be talking about fatherhood in the future. We're talking about, Father's Day in the future. But when we talk about daughters and fathers, there's just a very different situation. Now, as I was, preparing for this, I had to really, really come to grips with the men who are fathers of women who are fatherless.
Okay.
Because, see, they're the fathers, but they were fatherless fathers. And now they're fatherless fathers to fatherless women and daughters, because for some reason they weren't able to stay connected to their child.
Right.
And because of that, there's a number of things that keep them kind of disconnected when it comes to the relationship with their daughters. Yes. So the daughters are growing up as women disconnected. The daughters are growing up as young girls without that father role model. And then, we're going to talk more also about fathers and daddies, because I truly believe there's a difference between a daddy and a father, but then there are some daddyless young ladies as well.
Sure.
But today we're going to come back to this disconnection. If you look at that slide again, Mike, divorce, incarceration, abuse, and neglect. And when I was looking at this, women now comprise a larger proportion of the imprisoned population. This was a 645% growth.
Wow.
645 growth since crack entered into the system up into 2010, that particular growth. I think that's phenomenal. That's amazing. Because this is amazing. You had 28,000 and now you have over 215,000 in that short period of time from 80 to 2014.
In the prison system.
In the system.
Wow.
This is in the system. This is not just they went to court and was found guilty and now they go home.
Right.
This is now putting on the shoes, putting on the jacket, wearing the clothes, walking across the yard.
Day to day.
And here's another statistic that, again, I told people before, you're not a statistic, but you got to use a statistic sometimes to find out where you are in the midst of things. And 1 out of 10 of these incarcerated women are expecting children.
Oh, to be born in?
To be born in prison.
Oh, wow. Okay.
1 of 10. Now, that actually aligns with the age group that 60% of these women have children under the age of 18.
Okay.
So out of those 215,000 women, 60% of them have a child being raised by somebody else, not a mom, and they're already fatherless because there's no father for them. So there's all of this dynamic that's going on.
21,000 are going to have children in prison.
And here's another statistic, again, because they're 5 times more likely to be in prison if they come from that background.
Sure. Those children, yeah.
This is phenomenal to me because it's just a huge, huge piece. Because, see, men, although they get their identity from their fathers, they get their nurturing and their relationship building and that, lens of the world to care and to be responsible from their mom.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, we're entering into Mother's Day, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of people share and say, I love my mom and mama, I love my mama. But what happens when you don't have that? So here you have this next slide where the results, fearful, sexual abuse, poor peer groups, guidance for poor economics. And we're not going to talk today about the school to prison pipeline, but that's another section coming up in the future. But let's look at this sexual abuse, promiscuity.
Yeah.
Right.
A lot of young girls, and I actually had to deal with this with my own daughter because I'm a father outside of the home after the divorce. And I remember having this conversation when she was 16 years old. And I said, Brittany, I desire for you to hear my voice whenever you enter into a relationship with a young man.
Okay.
And I also desire that you hold on to your virginity when you enter into this relationship.
Okay.
And I remember her having a conversation with me about her friends who were even younger than her, who had already missed that opportunity.
Sure.
And I asked her questions like, well, so are you involved? And she's like, no, Dad. But my friend so-and-so is. And my friend such and such is. And it kind of aligned because I would ask her another question. What did their dad say? Oh, she don't have a dad. Her dad's not in the house.
Right.
So this whole idea of promiscuity comes out. But then there's the sexual abuse.
Right.
Because unfortunately, some of these relationships that happen, the mom will get a male role model in the house, but that role model becomes a negative.
Sure. Yeah.
And now he's the one, because he's watching her grow up, There's this song where he says, he's enticed by her curves, because now he's not seeing the little girl anymore.
Right.
He's starting to see this young woman blossom right before his eyes. What do you guys think about that?
I will say that someone very close to me had an encounter with a friend's father who is in prison. And so apparently there's the ability to send text messages at certain points. And so just out of kindness and wanting to check in and say, hey, Dad, how you doing? How you making it? And it seemed that the conversation went to, hey, send me a cute picture when you get a chance.
This was the dad.
This
or
is the
stepdad?
dad of a friend. Okay. So this young lady was friends and with her girlfriend, and then her girlfriend's father was sent to prison. And so, whereas he was quote unquote like a father figure, now many years have gone by, and so as you're saying, now she's a young woman now, and the conversation wasn't about, well, what's going on with your life, and
going to college, keeping yourself together. Nah, it's like send me a picture,
quote unquote cute picture of when you get a chance.
But I also think too that when you're looking at the roles of the peers, because there's no mama figure strong, there's no daddy figure strong, you tend to lean towards what your peers are saying.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not guiding you the correct way. And if you have been exposed at a young age to any kind of sexuality, whether it's molestation or it was agreed, you are now opening a door to more sexual activity than you can handle.
And you don't know it.
Exactly. No. What are the rules for getting into a relationship with a young guy?
Or getting out of one.
Exactly.
Because that's another struggle that they have, because some of them are in prison because of a relationship that ended wrong.
Right.
Because they were trying to protect themselves against a male. And they decided to, hurt that person.
Well, Duane, look at what was just aired in the news this week. The young girl who was killed in the bathroom over some kind of boyfriend issue. And now these girls are going to be serving probably life in prison.
Easy 30 years.
Yes.
Easy 30 years.
Which for me, a month is life.
Yes.
A day.
I can't do it.
A month. One man said a month.
A month is
hey,
life.
y'all,
I can't
tweet
do
that.
it.
Tweet right now. How long would you want to be in jail, right?
Yes.
No, incarceration.
Your
Your whole life is like removed, and now you have this thing. The other thing was peer groups, which you just mentioned, because peer pressure or peer group input now has taken the front seat for most parenting.
Yeah, it
right?
has.
Because number one, they're with them all the time. They're doing things that the parents don't even know about. So there's a lot of secrecy going on. So they're getting their guidance from the blind. And the Bible says, blind leading the blind, they both fall into the ditch.
Yeah.
But you know what? This isn't even a latchkey issue
either.
No. Because when the parents are home in the evening, the teen is still leaving the house.
Oh, yeah. Or they're creating these issues, these concerns, and they're saying to their parent, hey, I'm going to go help Sally with this. And they walk out thinking, oh, that's so good for you, daughter, that you're going to do that. And it's a lot of manipulation.
Right. Yes,
and that is
is
another
yes,
part that happens in these relationships. They learn to lie a lot, manipulate, create falsehoods, and even create people that don't exist.
Right. Which is one of the reasons why you have to know who your children's friends are and where they are. Where do they live? So I'm going to Sally's house. Sally who? Have I met Sally? Right. No. Well, where does Sally live? You know what? I'll drop you off.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. I played that role many times and played chief investigator online as well to see what Sally, because Sally may be polite to me, but behind closed doors on Instagram, et cetera, and other social media outlets, I'm finding pictures of what Sally really does.
Straight up
yeah,
thug.
you got a whole nother thing right there, because see, here's another thing. What has been found with these statistics also is that the LGBT community has grown exponentially.
LGBTQ.
Q, yes.
Now,
Forgot the
Q?
Q is queer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, school systems, and I heard this today,
we'll
which
talk
was
about that
so
one later.
interesting, because see, school systems teach tolerance,
Right.
Inclusion
and tolerance, but they call it tolerance, right?
Yeah.
Now here's the thing: tolerance teaches you to accept something you truly don't believe
That's
in.
right.
Not that you it's going to guide you. You just don't believe it. But I have to tolerate it. So let me ask you this question. So this young girl goes to her friend's house. Her friend is in the LGBTQ community. Everything looks good on paper. Everything looks good on pictures. Everything looks great. And she's spending the night today.
Right.
Promiscuity again enters the
Right.
picture. And now it's like, this won't hurt. You're not going to get pregnant. Because we've been spending a lot of time and
Let's
a lot of money
experiment.
telling young girls, don't bring home no babies, right?
Right.
We didn't say
That's
nothing
right.
about
don't experiment.
don't decide
Well,
to,
See,
experiment
the
in
other
your
part
sexuality.
of what you said, though, and it is correct, but the other word that is used or phrase that's used is alternative.
Oh, yeah, alternative.
So I have now a choice. I have a
Right.
new choice.
Yes, new choice.
And in order for me to make a decision, I certainly have to try it.
That's right.
Yeah, I heard
That's
a
right.
dad say, he found that his daughter was deciding to choose to cuddle up with a dog, choose to cuddle up with a piece of equipment.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Choose to cuddle up with a pillow. Choose to cuddle up with another young lady.
Okay.
There's a lot more choices now.
Right.
And we were taught in our, age group probably, and some of you, that there was only one choice, right?
That's right.
So we have to understand that the changing of the times has brought a lot of other things to the table. I just want to also talk about this poor economics, because another thing that happens is there's a lack of additional income, right? There's a lack of money. So now this other thing comes into play where this person is looking to a family member or this other person to help with the finances.
Right.
And there are some stepfathers who are pimping
Yes, they are.
their own daughter, their own stepdaughter. They are putting them in situations, and mothers, no doubt, because this happened in Oklahoma. Okay, Oklahoma mom on meth. She couldn't pay,
Okay.
so she allowed 3 of her drug dealer friends to have her daughter so she can have drugs.
How old is the daughter?
16. Here's the thing. The daughter thought nothing was wrong with that. Till the third person, and she started questioning what's going on. I know that's a little heavy right there, right? But
But
it's
it's
what's
real.
happening,
It's a
and it's
discussion.
something that we need to
Talk about.
not,
Right.
Right. put under the rug. Right.
We
We
need to
need to
talk
bring
about
this
it.
out to the table.
Open
we need to talk about
discussions.
this
Right.
stuff.
Yes.
And on the next slide, you talked about the fatherless, because this is what happens. Not yet. Go one
the
more
one
back
before that.
There's a lack of trust. There's a lack of this emotional connection. So there's a big emotional disconnect. Daughters who don't have their fathers to come to say, Dad, this is happening in my life, and what should I do about it? Daughters and females who are in situations and relationships, and they're saying, hey, I have no one to go to at all. They feel lost.
Right.
They feel left. They feel valueless. No value. You have no value. And so these are things that we, the community, have to understand too, so that we can step in when there's a issue. And Mike, if you go back one more thing, false lap time. When I saw that, I kind of thought I knew what it was, but false lap time is this time where a young girl comes to her dad and she jumps on his heart, jumps on his lap, jumps on his chest, jumps on his body, and says, Dad. And she learns that you can be non-sexually attracted to a male.
Right.
And when you have a false lap time, then everything that you do becomes sexual.
Wow.
And now it's misplaced, and
Right.
it turns into something else. And then, of course, poor parental sharing. I can't even... I just joined the group. You saw the picture of the guy called Erasing Dad, because I was
Right.
actually thinking of the book title, Erasing Dad. But I came to a different title later, and you'll see that. But, hey, Erasing Dads in Alabama, they came up with this whole program to say, listen, stop erasing us. Because there are some fathers who want to be in the life of their daughters, but the parental engagement is terrible.
Yeah.
And the moms, for whatever reason, sometimes grandmas too, they have a lot of influence, are saying, well, if he left you once, he'll leave you again, leave him alone. And they have divorced the daughter with the mom.
Right.
Sure.
And they've allowed that to be the foundation for their relationship, that divorce. And so erasing dads, erasing moms, erasing grandmoms, erasing sisters and brothers, all that's kind of in there. But what happens with the fatherless, they learn to not trust, so therefore I don't need you. They really do need you, but they say I don't need you because they have to be strong.
Right.
And so there are some things going on. You can go to the next slide, moving beyond to the connections. Here's what's happening. People are coming up with successful ways for dads to engage their children. We're talking about, thank you, Mike, hugging every single day. You create these moments, you create opportunities, brushing your teeth with your child, taking your child to places
Simple
and
things.
creating memories, not just
Yes.
going to the movies. That's too, what you call it, where you go somewhere and, you're not engaged.
Right.
So you're disconnected at a movie theater. But if you go to show her, how to pick up things on the beach, that's a
Right.
whole different thing. And laughter, So what I decided is to, let's not go negative. Let's go hug from daddy.
Gotcha.
Because I was looking at tears and erasing and all that. And I was like, you know what? 21 ways to present the lives of your daughter. Regardless, to be present,
okay.
be there. And see, being present doesn't
That's
mean
gonna
that you're
be
there every day.
Excellent book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not there every day, but you're sending a letter. You're sending a card. You're showing up at school. You make sure you put those things that they do that's important to them on your calendar.
Right.
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 If you see another young lady without a father, you become that figure who cares about her
Sure.
and gives her value. You
Right.
lift her up. You show her that she means something.
Right.
You show her that she's worth. She's worth something.
Yes.
Because that is a terrible thing for young ladies to feel no value. And our community stand there and continue that.
Yeah. And without
Yes.
expecting anything from the mother. That's the other issue sometimes that gets.
Well, and I have to speak for the mothers because I was a single parent raising a son, and it's hard.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
hard
definitely.
because you have
It's
to take
hard.
on so many roles, and then when that
Yes.
child is getting to that age where there's that rebellion, you're just
Yeah.
tired
Right.
now,
Right.
So you do
Right.
look for community to step up and
Yes,
help,
you
and
do.
hope that they are decent,
decent.
That's my point.
in their
That's it.
help.
That's my point.
Positive influences, because that's the second sad thing that happened with that
Right.
young lady. Here's this guy in jail, and how he's sending her a text or a phone call about sending him a picture.
Yeah,
And-
exactly.
and-
So that's the thing. They unfortunately take advantage of
Right.
that position.
Right.
Whereas it should be, as you used to use your word, decent. It becomes indecent.
Yes.
And
And
that-
that's another thing a single
And
parent
their
mom
mindset
has
is
to
all
worry about.
Yes.
blown.
Yeah.
And as you said about your sons, males need men. No matter what statistics say, males need men. They need to see a real male,
Right.
man,
Right.
male, because today they're getting all these other
Yes, they
images
are.
that what a male is.
Right.
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 I heard this other thing too, going back to the daughters. So the little girl is raised by two females. Okay, they have the right to have children. But here's what she said to her teacher. I know I have a beautiful mommy, but I wish I knew where my daddy was.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
But the Bible says that the children cry out, Abba, Father. They're looking for their dads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so, what we're doing, we're answering the call. If you see in the next slide, we did the Yes Summit not too long ago. But again, just want to make sure people understand that we're empowering young people to understand these issues and to have success in these issues and not get caught up. We're helping them discover who they are. We're helping them identify themselves. Yesterday, I had the Men of Power event down in Newport News, Virginia, and I met a young man. He committed a felony. He was in jail for 6 years,
Okay.
away from his his mom and his dad.
Okay.
But he was committing the crime to support his drug habit mom and dad. They didn't have any food. They were talking about his contribution. He's in high school with an A. He's got A's, and he decides to commit this crime, burglary, and it went bad, and now he's a victim. And we had to really help him understand that now you got to move over to the victorious side,
Right.
Yes.
and turn the story that was negative into something positive.
Yes.
Right.
So I want to encourage anybody listening to this that, young daughters, they're fearful because they don't know who to trust. They don't have to remain fatherless because we can create father relations from the community. It's kind of like the village,
Yes.
You go into an African village, they say, well, what's going on? And you say, well, the children are fine. If you tell them that the children are fine, they know that everything else is working great. They don't even talk about the king and the queen. The children good, everything's great.
How about that?
If our children are sick, we need to do something.
Right.
And we have children incarcerated at the highest rate ever in any part of the world. We have females being incarcerated over 600% increase in the last 10 years. We have young people who are still looking around for their mother at 60 years old and their
Yes, they
fathers
are.
at 60
Yes,
years
they
old
are.
because it doesn't disappear. We both grew up with missing people in our lives. And I remember, even as an older man, still, there are times where I just wonder, what would my dad have said
Yeah.
about this situation? And I struggle even now outside of the home with my children who are raised by another family, a woman who got remarried and that type of thing. But I also think about my son, my oldest son, who decided, I can do this, Dad, without you, in certain situations.
Okay.
And I'm like, hey, I'm right here. I'm right here. So we need to throw that lifeline out,
Yep.
be present, but start changing and creating better opportunities for our young daughters and females so that they can understand that they're value, that they have worth.
Yes.
And as we started off, if they don't have a person on earth, then we can go with the Father. And that's what you said, Abba, Father.
Yes.
The Father in heaven has said, hey, I'll be your dad.
Yes, he did.
I'll be your father. Come to me. Cast your care upon me.
Yes.
Let me be the one that you come to first when you can't go to someone in your neighborhood. Take some time out today and pray, meditate, however you decide. But if you're a woman out there right now and you don't have that, it's that time now to go to your Heavenly Father, because he said, I'll be the father to the fatherless.
Yep.
So I want to say thank you.
Wow, you always bring it, you always bring, and you keep it real. I like that. So if you need to get in contact with Duane about, the daughters and the fatherless daughters, and also want to talk to him about the Yes Summit, here's his connect information. You can reach him on Facebook, Twitter, and also his website. And then, you know what?
What?
Send him a letter anyway.
Yeah,
Just
send
a
us a
letter.
letter.
Yeah, just
Tweet.
connect with him.
Something.
Yeah.
Hit us up
yeah.
on Facebook.
That's right, because
We
he's
wanna
got
hear
this
from
Yes
you.
Summit that it will be amazing in your neighborhood. To
Yes.
bring the
We
young
wanna bring
people
it
to
to
the
your
table.
neighborhood. Yep.
Exactly.
Come-
So thanks, Duane. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, well, we're going to get with William now, okay?
Alrighty.
And now, it's time for another edition of How to Start Your Very Own Successful Home-Based Business with your business trainer and coach, William Craig III.
And we had such a wonderful program last month when we shared business opportunities.
That's
Tracy mentioned it earlier in the show that I wanted to just continue in that vein to give you just a little bit more instruction on what you can do right there where you are. So here we go. The key to good social health is what? Starting a successful home-based business. And if that is the key, then the obvious next question is, who can benefit from this information?
I will.
There you go.
We will. Yes.
So here we go. The key to a successful home-based business is choosing the right business, and this is part 2. So let's go right into the next slide, if you would please, Mike. And we talked about this briefly last week. And the truth of the matter is, folks, there are so many possibilities. Unfortunately, next slide, please. People are looking at, I guess they're looking at their lives in such a way that they say, I've got a problem, man. I don't know what to do. So have you considered, ladies and gentlemen, creating a certification program based on your own experience?
Yes.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Alrighty. This concept was introduced to me by one of my mentors years ago, Janet Switzer, who was the marketing guru, the marketing mind, the marketing genius behind the Chicken Soup for the Soul empire. Mark Victor Hansen and Jack Canfield worked with Janet to build that business into $1 billion empire.
Wow.
One of the things that Janet shared with me during our coaching sessions was you want to create a certification program. And so the certification program for many of you, again, is something that it may seem like a foreign object. It may seem like something hard, but it's based on information that you already have.
Right.
Awesome.
That's right.
And as I'm teaching around the region, literally over the past few weeks, this seems to keep coming up over and over because I want to share with people, it's not about necessarily having to learn something new. There are people who will pay you for what you already know. Tweet it. There are people who will pay you for what you already know. The key is packaging it in such a way that it makes good common sense and dollars and cents to you. All right? So it's got to make good sense for you.
I'm getting excited already.
But it's got to make dollars and cents for you. All right, so if we will, next slide. So point number one, certifications are popular.
Yes, they are.
And if you look on the screen, I actually went online to find some certification certificates, and I blocked out the names there, so John Doe is across everything. But you've got all kinds of things. Melissa Data certification. You've got a certified clockmaker certification. I mean, these things are so varied. Certified park and recreation specialist. They can be almost anything you can think of. If there's something you know how to do, you can create a certification for it.
So is there a certification for voiceover?
Hold that point. Hold that point.
Okay.
But go on to the next slide because you're peeping in my slides here.
Am I in your soup, your Kool-Aid?
Yeah, that's all right. That's good. That's good. So here we go. Number one, certifications are popular. Number two, certifications can add value for job seekers. I understand in two cases. Number one, first case, there are people who say, but William, I need to work.
Right.
Okay.
Got to pay the bill.
And then number two, not everybody wants to own their own business.
Right.
So, all right, fantastic, not a problem. But just understanding that you, as the person who is creating a certification program, you can create a certification program that will add value. And if we go back to the slide, you'll notice here on this particular resume, along with the education at Oxford Seminar, they have a certification program through Oxford Seminars that they learned teaching English as a foreign language. As well, they have a certificate in Basque and Iberian culture. Now, this is someone's resume that they've added the certification to their credentials, their education credentials. So along with your bachelor's, along with your master's, in some cases even along with your PhD, how many of us know people who have degrees that can't find work?
That's right. Yes.
Having a hard time finding a job.
Yes.
Guess what? Today's buzzword is certification.
Ding, 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 ding.
Back in the day, back in the day, you almost had to have, let me start over. Back in the day when we were coming along, if you were a good learner, you had good work ethic, you had a good name, people would bring you on and they would train you how to do something. Okay. And so today we are seeing people who are maintenance engineers, people who are custodial engineers, people who work with boiler systems and what have you, that didn't need to be licensed 20, 30 years ago. And now they're going through the process of having to get some sort of certification to keep their jobs.
Wow. That's right.
Because back in the day, you brought on little Johnny, you know, he was
family.
He was,
Like
it was
Yes.
like, right. And Sammy's son, and he's
right.
trying to get a start in life. We're going to pay him, you know, $10 an hour to get started. But it was a decent job. He was a quick learner. And so we brought him on and we taught him the ropes. And eventually he was able to go for what he knew. But then we moved to somewhere probably in around the late 80s, early 90s. The pendulum started to swing the other direction. And all of a sudden, in the work world, they said, no, you need to have a degree.
Right.
I don't care if you
No
know how
matter
to
the
do the
degree.
job.
That's
If you're
right.
coming in, now those people who are already there, we'll grandfather them. But if you're coming
That's
into
right.
the industry, no matter what industry it is, you need to have a degree. And if you don't have a degree, we can't give you the job.
That's right.
Even if you have had years of experience, if you are not in that position now and you do not have a degree, we can't hire you. So they tried that experiment for a little while, and unfortunately what they found was that many people who were coming out of schools with degrees in the early 2000s, they had great skills as it related to being able to do the job, but they had no social skills. And so they didn't know how to communicate. Okay? So now you don't know how to treat people right on the job.
Yes.
You don't know how to say good morning.
That's
You
right.
don't know how to be mindful that your music shouldn't be turned up
That's
loud
right.
in the office place. You don't know how to
going
come
on?
to work dressed
What the deal is, right? What the
appropriately.
deal is?
So and on and on and on. So the whole soft skills industry
That's right.
boomed
Yes, it did.
because you have people who had degrees but didn't know the first thing about how to relate with other people in the workplace.
That's true. And it primarily came from the technology side of the
That
house.
was the big,
Yes.
the big happenstance was that you had all these techies because this was the internet boom.
Yes, it was.
And the .com boom.
That's right.
And so you have all these people who are coming out of these programs from Silicon Valley across the United States who had never worked anywhere for the most part. And when the work that they did do was behind closed
Right,
doors,
very
Exactly.
independent.
in little dark rooms,
Exactly. Independent.
right? Or from home.
Yep.
And so
Down
now
their
you're
basement.
bringing them into a socialized group of people, and they didn't know how to socialize.
Right.
They didn't know how to blend in. They didn't know how to mix.
And that was workplace violence.
You better get out of my face.
That's right. That's when that started.
I'm going to
no,
work
but
now.
let's not go to that one just yet. So here we go. One of the things that we have to understand also is that in addition to them not being able to relate just on the regular, if you will, right, in a general basis,
sense.
what we have now is we are living in a time in which we have 5 generations
Yes.
in the workplace.
Yes.
First
Multi-generation.
time in history in America where we've had 5 generations sharing the same workspace, the same office. And guess what? The Gen Xers and the Gen Yers, they don't know how to deal with the traditionals and the baby boomers.
Baby boomers. That's
and the
us.
baby boomers don't know how to. I can't get with this kid who says, well, I need to go on break because my baby dad is calling me and I need to go downstairs to take care of something. What? What? We're in the middle of a meeting. What do you mean? Your baby daddy?
And why are
What?
you taking that call in the middle of the meeting?
Hello.
Yeah. Wait.
And oh no, hold
gotta
on just
take
a minute.
this.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
Hold up.
No. And you have people coming to interviews and saying, "Can you have somewhere where I can hook up my phone because I need to charge? I'm
Oh,
almost out of
okay.
time."
At the interview.
No, you are out of time, young man.
At the interview.
Your time is up. Thank you for coming in. Have a nice day.
This is happening, y'all.
Yes, it
This
is.
is
It's happening.
So here we go. So that is the other dynamic that has brought about the shift of the pendulum again to where employers are saying, well, okay, hold on. All right, I know I can't bring you in with nothing, but if you can just bring a piece of paper that shows me that
Something.
you've had some exposure,
Yes.
okay,
Bring me a recipe or something.
to what we've done, what we're
Yes.
doing here, as well as some social graces.
Yes, like thank you.
You know, we'll consider you.
Okay.
And
yes.
and so this is what has been the birth of certification. So next slide, please, Mike.
Whew, wow.
Certifications can be lucrative, and I'm not going to read all the text on the screen, but I want to highlight what I feel is the most important part for this point. If you see here on the screen, this particular certification that is offered runs $5,000 a year on the low end, up to $20,000 a year. That's for the certification. So what am I saying? I am saying that you can create a certification program where you can charge people $5,000 to be certified. If you look on the other side, this one shows some classes. It shows the breakdown of what goes into that certification course, and it's $1,400. Certification fees can range from $100, a few $100s, well into the thousands of dollars.
Wow.
So again, do you have specialized knowledge?
Yes.
Do you have knowledge that, again, someone is out there trying to compete for an opportunity that you can sit down and map out a 5-module class, if you
Yes.
will,
Yes.
a
Yes.
3-module class,
Yes.
a 1-day class to
Awesome.
create a certification program.
Wow.
And here we go. And base the pricing not on what you think is fair, but on the value that it's going to bring to that individual.
Awesome, right? Because if you know that it's going to give me a job, well, I got an opportunity now for a $50,000 or $100,000 job.
Correct.
With this certification, how much is that worth to me?
One of my former students I met with
Awesome.
over the weekend, and he and I sat down because he wanted to get my advice, and he's looking at a $7,000 certification program that will help him start making $60,000 a year
Okay.
when he comes out, when he finishes the certification. Does that sound like a good deal?
That's
Little
an
over 10,000.
investment. in
All
yourself.
day long.
That's right.
$7,000 to make 60,
Awesome.
all day long.
You do the math.
But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that you can do
Yes.
at home. And so here we go. Next stop, Mike, the next slide.
We're on our way
Mike's
somewhere,
writing this
Mike.
stuff down.
Mike, he already made shoes last time. He's like, wait, I got to do certification.
So to answer your question, Duane,
be
here are
excellent
some
for you.
examples of certification programs that I have created or are in the midst of creating. The first one being a certified radio commercial producer.
Yeah,
can
William
do
Will.
that.
William
Hello.
Uh-oh.
My many years of experience
Yes.
allows me the opportunity to be able to share that with someone else.
Awesome.
The next one, certified radio commercial voiceover actor.
Oh.
How about that?
And you can do it too.
And I can do that too. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
Certified webinar producer.
Okay.
Did you know
Oh,
that
that's
webinars are
That's me.
are-
Yes.
That's me and Tracy over here.
there you go. Don't fight. Don't fight. There's enough room for
We in business
everybody.
together.
And then here we go. Certified 501c3
Okay.
application consultant.
Okay.
So, and here let me just share this. We've got just a few minutes left. But with that last example, the certified 501c3 application consultant, what I have been blessed, fortunate to do is partner with someone who has been doing this for 20 years.
Wow.
All right, an expert in the field, has a 100% track record
100%.
with creating 501c3 applications, getting them processed through the government.
Awesome.
All right? Not a bad partner to have,
That's
right?
right.
Right.
So if I'm going to say, I want to create a certification program, does it make sense for me to reinvent the wheel
No.
No.
and go out there
no.
and spend hours with the research?
No,
and
you-
no.
You have it already? Right
I want to
there.
get started. So what did I do? I approached this person and said, hey, I'd like to have the exclusive rights to your material, and we'll partner on this, and I'll license your material from you, and I will teach the classes.
So you have a license agreement directly with that.
I am proud to be able to say
Okay.
that I have a signed
Woo.
license agreement,
And you have an
exclusive rights.
Exclusive.
Exclusive is a very good
Exclusive.
word,
Yes,
you
it
guys.
is.
Yes. And so when we were talking the other day, one of the things that she shared with me was she said, once you get everything set up, give me the link and I will put it on my website. And so I will send people to you to be trained going forward.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
all right. So you know what? You have this opportunity right now. I know you're not through, but I want to make sure they heard you.
Yes.
That if you are interested in becoming a 501c3
application consultant.
this is the person that you need to contact.
PaperMoneySecrets.com is the website. I wasn't
Paper
going to give
Money.
the plug. Paper Money Secrets.
Paper
Okay.
Money
You
Secrets.
like that?
Yes.
.com.
PaperMoneySecrets.com. You can go and I tell you, it's going to be changing soon, but I will honor anything that comes through before we make the changes.
Grandfather
Yes,
is
grandfather.
the word.
But I share that with you because once again, just like last month when I shared the business opportunities, I made sure I vetted all of the opportunities. I made sure I'm practicing what I'm preaching. So I'm not telling you to go out and do something that you can't do, that I haven't already done.
Right.
And so I have already gone through the process. I have already gotten the licensing agreement created and signed, and now building the website,
Okay.
and now booking the spaces and the time. So at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that you can do as well.
You know, you said that earlier too, because you said you can do it.
Yes.
And I think people get caught up on the fact that they think, oh, no, I can't. But now they have someone who's not only going to say you can do it, but let me show you how.
Let me
That's
show you
right.
how.
That's
And here we go. At the end of the day, it's not about excuses anymore. All right, Mike, if you'll put up, I think a couple more slides, and then we're out of here. We got 3 minutes. But at the end of the
We
day,
don't.
how many minutes we have? We got 8 minutes.
Yeah. Keep
Oh, okay.
talking.
All right. So here we go. I put this slide in last week, so now I don't have to rush. I put this slide in last week, and I brought it back again because it speaks to two things. Number one, the quote by Disney, which talks about hard times and trouble. And none of us want hard times and trouble.
Right.
We all want everything to be rosy. Well, remember, roses have thorns.
Right.
Okay, so though they have a beautiful fragrance to many, there are some people I know that don't like the fragrance of roses.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they have thorns, which says what? Even to get the beautiful things in life, sometimes you got to go through the hard times.
That's
Go
right.
through work.
That's right.
Sometimes you got to go through the tough moments. And sometimes it's because of those tough moments that you actually do what it is that you need to do for yourself.
But you know what? Also, because roses have thorns, you have to learn how to handle them.
Right.
So even in the tough times, you begin to learn how to maneuver and handle the situation.
And doesn't that make
And
you
not give up.
appreciate?
Mhm, exactly.
Doesn't that make you appreciate more?
That's
Oh, I
right.
think
that
so.
dozen roses that's sitting there.
Yes,
I
it
think
does.
so.
Yes,
it
does.
makes you so the opportunities that come on the backside of hardship and troubles. Gosh, you appreciate it so much more when you have something invested in it. And I hope that makes sense to you. And the investment may be the blood, the sweat, the tears.
That's right.
The
The
lonely
sweat equity,
hours.
you
huh?
said.
And let me
Yes.
tell you, doing this, don't think that it's going to come easy. For some, it
Oh,
may,
gosh.
because that
Right.
is that gifting, that
Right.
calling area. It's your right time. Whatever's lining up, you know,
Right.
it's for you.
Right.
But there is a struggle too. And when you reach the end, you break through. Oh my gosh, the award is beautiful.
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
you should
yes.
not have to go through that again. And if you
Indeed.
do, you know how to handle it.
Because you've been through it before.
Yes.
So if you would, Mike. So again, the Disney quote is one. The other one was the fact that you may need a coach
That's
to
right.
help you.
That's always good to have.
Oh my goodness, someone who has gone down the road, or someone who can sit high and look low, if you will. Okay?
Condensed time too. You know.
Definitely.
That's right.
Because now I've heard people say this, and I beg to disagree to a great degree. Well, you know, why are you going to get somebody to coach you that hasn't actually done this themselves? Well, here we go. Michael Jordan, maybe you've
I love
heard of
this.
him.
Go.
Michael Jordan had a coach.
Yes.
Uh,
Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods.
That's right.
Maybe you've heard of him.
Who had no jacket.
He had a coach. Okay. These people never won the championship.
Exactly.
They never won the jacket, as you say. They never won the trophy. But what did they do? They were able to stand back and watch Michael as he took the shot to see what he did when he made the shot and what he did when he missed the shot.
Right.
And they were able to point out, now, Michael, when you miss the shot, it's because you hold your hand a certain way. You have your arm at a certain length away from your body. And so they help them to see what it was they were doing wrong and correct
Their
those
strengths and
things
weaknesses, yes.
so that they would be able to repeat the positives,
Right.
repeat the successes. And that's what a good coach can do for you.
I
It's not about whether or not they've actually done it so much as it is that they can actually show you where you can go to get what it is you want to get.
It's like your value. You know, as a coach, I may think, oh, this costs too much. So, but you can show me, listen, if you take these 3 things that I'm about to show you,
right,
and you effectively put them into play,
right.
here's going to be
Here's the payoff.
payoff.
Exactly. And again, what does that mean to you? Now we're almost out of time. So let's go to the next slide here.
Well, you know we need 3 weeks anyway.
Listen, if you want a free 30-minute discovery session, go to williamcraig3.clickbook.net. That site, once again, williamcraig3.clickbook.net. And what is a 30-minute discovery session going to get you? So glad you asked that question. Okay. A 30-minute discovery session is where we sit down and we talk about where you are and where you want to go, what resources you have, what resources you need, and how to put it all together to take you to the place where you want to go. My tagline, my motto is, I'm the guy to help you go from where you are to where you want to be.
Yes.
Awesome.
And in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, this is how we strengthen our communities.
Yes.
By showing up in such a way that we're financially strong. We're financially sound. Because why? Because we're rolling over, we're not rolling out, and we're doing a part-time business at home, and that may become full-time. But at the end of the day, it's bringing in the kind of money to help us do what we need to do for ourselves and for our community.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right. We talked last month about, the community and bridging the home ownership.
Yes.
The home-based ownership
Home-based,
along with the community. The person that thinks that I'm here, I'm never going to get out of here.
Right.
We
You're
presented
stuck.
opportunities, on how you can get out, how you can attend college for free,
Yes.
how you can create a home-based business with $0.
Yes.
Zero.
$0.
Did you say zero?
Yes. We said
None.
zero.
None. You say nada.
Nothing.
Okay,
Nilch.
you can do it. All you have to do is will to do it. Just
Yes.
say yes.
Make a
Stay
plan.
focused.
Here are your coaches right here. You may have some coaches that are locally as well. You can reach out to us on social media across our website. We're here to help you, and we
Yes.
will come into your community and guide you as well.
Yes.
We've all had disadvantages in life.
Oh,
you
gosh.
know? Yeah, it's just the will to do. Just will to do, and we'll be right there to help you. Well, you know what?
What?
This is social health, and I tell you, both bring it. I want to hear more about the home-based businesses part 3.
Well, next week, next month, next month, what we will be talking about is how to promote yourself in this business, because that's the next piece to it. When you look at it, what do I do now? How do I get out there? So that's what we'll be covering.
Yeah, and the whole thing is presentation and packaging, and William is the one that can help you with that as well, because he has taught many in the presentation, customer service, how you present yourself. Believe me, I'm in the arena where I'm going to look at you and I'm going to form an opinion immediately. So you need a William with you if you want me to hire you, okay? So look.
And if you're not sure, you're struggling, then that's just discover your tag
That's
situation.
it. That's right.
Discover what's inside you, your talent, your ability, your gifts, so you can turn
And
it
your
into
skills.
passion
Yes.
and profit
Yes.
with William.
All right,
Well,
so
thank you.
we're going to end our social health segment, and we're going to be back next week with mental health.
Yes.
Okay, and so we're excited to see what's going to be talked about at that session. But
Okay.
between now and then,
Yes.
we want you to be safe,
be smart,
be healthy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, I wear my clothes like this because I can. And I wear my hair like this because I can. And I walk around like this because I can. And I do my thing like this because it's who I am. And if you expect me to give you an apology for being nothing that you're used to, drummer, you